Hello and welcome to the God is a Geek World of Warcraft add-on tutorials. This is the first in a series of UI tutorials which can all be found at godisageek.com in the WoW section. Today we're going to be looking at two add-ons, Clique and Grid. Two separate add-ons that work really well together. So first off we're going to do Grid, and I'm just going to make a new profile to make it blank. So we'll make a test profile, and that's what you should see right there on your screen when you first get Grid. It will be something like that, and then you're going to want to configure it because out of the box it's pretty basic. Just do /grid config, and the first thing you want to change is the frame. Maybe open up the frame and go down to advanced. And you may just want to change the size, frame height, a bit small at the moment, width, and what else? You want to invert the bar color so that it's not just showing a black. You want to really see it. Some people don't like it, but I like to invert the color straight away. Alright, so you're done with frame for now. Take a quick look at layouts. Obviously your solo layout you may not want to have it at all. For now we will. And obviously it's got your raid layouts, 25, 10, battleground 40. It's got all these different layouts for different situations. The default ones are pretty good, so you can leave those as they are. Auras, these are all the buffs and debuffs that will appear on Grid. Depending on what your class, you can have a look through, see what you've got. They actually haven't got a Sacred Shield, so as a Paladin I really like to see if Sacred Shield is up, so I can see when it's running out. So I'll quickly just add it as my own custom buff. Make sure you get the spelling right and click enter, and it's there. Sacred Shield, it's got some options. Change the colour, I like to have blue for it. Priority, I like to make it top priority, 99. I don't care if it's mine, I want to just see if it's on the main tank and so on. And that's enabled. So right after that you can go back to your frame and you'll notice all these things: healing bar, center text, center icon. Center icon you can leave, it generally just shows the debuff as a nice little icon, so you can actually see what debuff people have, which is really nice. You're not just dispelling any old thing, you can actually see the icon. And then you've got these little top left, top right, bottom left, all these things. These things show little squares in the bottom corner, and you'll see in a minute. So we're going to use bottom left corner, incoming heals. I'm not too bothered about that. I'm going to unclick that, and I'm going to go up to buffs up here, and you can see it's got my custom buff Sacred Shield, which I've added myself. So I'll click that, then I'll click myself on Grid and I'll apply Sacred Shield, and you can see it's applied a little blue dot in the bottom left corner. So whenever Sacred Shield is up on a target on Grid, it will be as a little blue in the bottom corner, and if I cancel the buff you'll see it's gone. So it's very easy to see for when you want to refresh buffs and so on, especially in combat. Alright, colours. Class colours might be good. Seems to be defaulting as white for some reason. Do a quick reload and hopefully that will fix itself. Just do /reload to reload the UI. And there you can see I've got class colours, so it's for Paladins, it's obviously pink. And the add-on's still looking quite bulky, so I'm just going to make it look a bit nicer. Alright, so border texture, I don't really like having that big bulky texture around it. I'm going to go to none. Obviously there are other textures you can go to make it look a bit different. And the little grid tab is kind of annoying too, so I'm just going to hide that. And you can obviously still drag it round. I like to have my grid down here right in the center so I can see it. Alright, so that's the basics of grid. You've seen how to set up Sacred Shield on there. You can do with any custom buff or debuff to see when that's up. Generally buffs show in the middle, so you'll be okay with that. Alright, let's get on to clique, which is really good to use with grid. So to get to clique, open up your spell book and you'll notice at the bottom it's below your so click grid at the bottom there, click. Let's make a new profile, another test profile, and it's completely blank. Right, you can do harmful actions, helpful actions, and out of combat actions, or you can just use default. It's probably best to use helpful actions if you're healing, harmful obviously if you want to do stuff to other people. So we'll keep it on helpful actions for now, and we'll also set up the frames, because at the moment clique will work on any frame, and that's kind of bad because it'll stop you from just generally clicking people. So we just want it for grid. So grid layout. Take all the other ones off. I've got loads of things here because I've got Pitbull and all that stuff. So just take all of those off apart from grid. Alright, so you got your grid up there. Just using grid. Obviously if you're in a raid you'll have more grids, things to click, so don't worry about that. And it's really simple to set it up. You go to the spell you want. So I want to get a holy spell. I want to do Flash of Light. So I want to right click, when I right click my thing I want it to do Flash of Light. So all I do is right click that with the click interface up, and now Flash of Light is the right button whenever I click my grid button only. So if I right click anything, it doesn't just do it only on the grid because I've selected it as the frame. So there you go, right click, Flash of Light, there you go. Also I want Holy Light, so I'll do Shift and right click, and that'll be my Holy Light. So I just press Shift and right click and you get a Holy Light. And something we saw earlier was Sacred Shield. I'm going to bind that to another mouse button. I've got 4 mice buttons, so that's quite nice. Where is it? Oh, it's in Holy as well. I've binded that as well to a key, and then I can just click, and there you go. Bottom left corner I can see I got Sacred Shield, and once it runs off, it's off. Alright, obviously you can do much more complex things with this, these two add-ons. That's just a very basic showing of it. I'm sure you have lots of fun figuring out how to do the complex stuff.